Ain't no sleep for the wicked. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Pump Fake, an after dark edition of the Pump Fake. It's about 107 Eastern Standard Time here in Pittsburgh, night one of the 2024 NFL Draft in the books. And now I'm gonna do that weird thing that we do in media is say how good a pick was or bad a pick was before these guys ever play it down. But don't worry, I'm a genius, so this is there's no way I'm gonna be wrong, right? Um, where do we start? Should we start with the Falcons? Should we just start by making fun of the Atlanta Falcons? 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. 6 quarterbacks in the first, 12 picks. Caleb Williams to the Bears, Jaden Daniels to the Commanders, Drake May to the Patriots in the first 3 picks, and then Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington to the Atlanta Falcons at pick number 8. Excuse me, my goodness, my nose is very itchy. At pick number 8, Michael Penix going to the Atlanta Falcons after they gave Kirk Cousins more money than the GDP of the city of Atlanta. And they draft Michael Penix in the first round. When they could have done so many different things. You know, for the Falcons, if they wanted to even take a receiver there, Rome Odunze was still available. He went in the next pick to the Bears. If they wanted to take him just to strengthen the offense, I don't think anybody would have faulted them for that. That would have given them a great attack of, you know, you signed Kirk, and now you have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and you add Rome Odunze to that. That would have just made them one of the more OP offenses, at least on paper, in the NFC. Would have made sense to do. If they wanted to even take a defender there, you know, they could have been the team to take, a Terrion Arnold or a Quinion Mitchell at cornerback. They could have taken a Jared Verse or Dallas Turner off the edge, or Latu off the edge. They could have done a bunch of stuff. They could have traded back and got a little haul of picks. There's a myriad of things that they could have done. A lot of smart things they could have done, and they did precisely none of them. And instead, they stay put and take Michael Penix Jr. and Raheem Morris and company were talking after the pick and said that the Packers model of how, you know, they drafted Jordan Love when Aaron Rodgers is still there and has worked out for the Packers. The thing with that is Jordan Love was 21 when they drafted him. Michael Penix is going to be 25. If everything works out for the Falcons, Kirk Cousins is there he signed a 4-year deal? So if things go the way you hope with Kirk, you're not playing Penix until he's 29, 30? That's when his rookie deal's going to be up. And then what? Let's say that Kirk gets to the end of his contract and plays well enough. Then you're going to go into what? You got to think about if you're going to pick up Penix's 5th-year option without ever seeing him play. None of this makes sense, man. This was the biggest bonehead move, the biggest bonehead pick of the night. I think there was another move that really infuriated me, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. But in terms of draft picks, this one made no sense whatsoever. Absolutely no sense. Now, the Broncos taking Bo Nix at 12, also dumb. Like, if you're taking Bo Nix or Michael Penix in the first round, it's stupid. But at least the Broncos can say, well, our quarterbacks right now are Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham, and Ben DiNucci. You know, we think that Bo Nix could at least fit what Sean Payton wants to do and do it better than those 3. And, you know, that's fair enough. There's no excuse for Atlanta. That's a bad pick. A really bad pick when you could have done so many other things that nobody would have batted an eye about. If you wanted to take Rome Odunze there, cool. You wanted to take Latu. You wanted to take Dallas Turner, Quinion Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, sure. You wanted to trade down, sure. Staying put and taking a quarterback after you just gave Kirk Cousins more money than God. That I don't get it, man. I don't get it at all. So that's the Falcons. Maybe the biggest loser of the night. But But let me talk about this real quick. What in God's name are the Buffalo Bills doing? What are you doing? The Bills are sitting at 28. And then we get that little, notification across the bottom of the screen. Oh, the Bills traded the pick. Okay, that's weird. They need a receiver. There's still a few good ones on the board. They trade the pick to the Kansas City Chiefs. Immediately, everybody's like, oh my God, they just gave the Chiefs Xavier Worthy. And sure enough, the Kansas City Chiefs select the fastest man in the history of the NFL Combine. Even if the Bills weren't going to take Xavier Worthy, that's fine. But why are you actively helping your arch rival get a guy they clearly want and think can make them better? Even if you're not going to take Xavier Worthy, like let's say that the Bills had zero interest in Worthy, that's fine. But if the biggest roadblock that you've had in getting to a Super Bowl sees a guy that they think will make them better, why are you actively helping them get that person? Not to mention the fact that if anybody's going to get the most out of that speed, it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And you just help them get him. What are you doing? If Kansas City calls, man, hang up. Why are you taking that call? I don't get it. And I'm not sitting here saying that Xavier Worthy's going to be, Devontae Adams in his prime. But look, man, that type of speed, I understand people are saying, oh, John Ross is fast too. John Ross went to a situation in Cincinnati where they were a dumpster fire at the time. The Chiefs have won the last 2 Super Bowls, are looking for a three-peat, and just added the fastest guy in the history of the NFL Combine. And again, even if he's not, a superstar, if they find a good role for him and he's effective, mission accomplished. And what happens if the Bills and Chiefs meet in the playoffs again and Xavier Worthy has a monster game and is a reason why the Bills can't get to a Super Bowl again? Then what conversation are we having? Again, even if the Bills did not, see Xavier Worthy as somebody that they thought about taking, that's fine. But why are you actively helping your arch rival get somebody they want? That makes no sense to me. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what, and not even that. They trade completely out of the first round because they traded with the Panthers, who then take Xavier Legette, who I think would have been a good addition to the Bills. So not only do they trade with the Chiefs, who then get Xavier Worthy, the Bills trade out of the first round altogether. And they'll lead off the processions tomorrow with night 2 and pick number 33, where they will likely be taking a receiver. There's still, a nice collection of receivers out there, whether it be Ladd McConkey, A.D. Mitchell, Roman Wilson. Still plenty of names out there that they could go and get. But man, the fact that they actively helped the Chiefs get somebody they wanted, that blows my mind. Robert's in here, and I appreciate you watching along, Robert. Was a huge surprise for Penix. Myself as a Steelers fan was happy, kept pushing tackles down the board. Yeah, I agree. I'll highlight the Steelers as a winner real quick. For those who, if you're listening to this as a podcast and not watching on YouTube and aren't subscribed to the YouTube, who don't know that either I'm a Steelers fan or that I do a Steelers stream. I'm here twice a week. I'll highlight the Steelers as a winner. I was very happy with the Troy Fautanu pick, and it highlights what the Steelers want to do, and that's get better up front. Omar Khan's first 2 first-round picks are both offensive tackles. It does signify to me that they are going to keep Broderick Jones on the right side and just have Fautanu be the left tackle. That's fine. there were some talks about like, oh, maybe they'll use Fatanu and move him inside the center. Mike Tomlin and everybody kind of squashed that. They said, no, we view him as a tackle. That's where we're going to play him. So, hey, that's fine with me, man. Troy Fatanu is left tackle for the Steelers. That I'm totally okay with that. And then AD Mitchell will be a Bill. That would probably be my guess as of right now as to who they're going to try to get. Ladd McConkey wouldn't necessarily surprise me either. But if AD Mitchell's going to be a Bill, okay, that gives them, that gives them their, at least one boundary receiver. But I would like to see them do something to get somebody outside for Josh Allen. And they'll lead off the proceedings tomorrow with the 33rd overall pick in the draft. But again, it's just so strange to me that they would actively trade down with the Chiefs of all teams. That blows my mind, man. Blows my mind. So we'll see. We'll see. In terms of, let me get this pulled back up here. Let's talk about the another loser here. The Los Angeles Chargers. Why do the Los Angeles Chargers hate Justin Herbert so much? They had Malik Neighbors fall into their laps, and they said, "Now we're good. Now we're going to take a tackle when we already have Rashawn Slater." And by the way, I think Joe Alt's going to be good. He was the consensus top tackle for a reason. I think he's going to be good. But who in God's name is Justin Herbert throwing the football to? Quentin Johnson, he's not good. Josh Palmer, he's not a number one receiver. He's not a number two receiver. Oh, but Jared, the Chargers are going to run the football. Oh, okay. Pardon me for wondering why a team who has Justin Herbert would want to throw the football. That's my mistake there. My mistake. You can change the head coach. You can change the general manager. Some organizations are just who they are. And the Los Angeles Chargers continue to waste Justin Herbert. And I understand we haven't seen a downplayed yet of the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. We haven't seen a game for that to come to fruition. But all the moves that they've made this offseason, man, I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. Hiring Greg Roman as your offensive coordinator, what are you doing? And then him just bringing all of his former Ravens running backs in. Oh, yeah, come on, Gus Edwards. Come on, J.K. Dobbins. I'm not drinking the Chargers Kool-Aid. I feel bad for Justin Herbert, who continues to be let down by a poor organization. And then, you know what? Now we see why Archie said, "No, Eli, you're not going there. I'm going to protect you from that nut house." Maybe somebody should have been in Justin Herbert's ear like that. Said, no, we're not having Justin go to the Chargers. Somebody should have. Because when you can find another tackle in this draft. It's a very deep tackle class. You aren't going to find another Malik Neighbors in this class. And the Chargers said, nope, we're okay. We'll take a tackle. Okay. Come back to me when you win 8 games. Come back to me when you're still on the outside looking in the playoffs. Come back to me when your incredible quarterback is once again being criticized because he's got nobody to throw to, and somehow that becomes his fault. I don't get the Chargers, man. Absolutely numbskull organization. Get positive for a minute. The Philadelphia Eagles hadn't taken a cornerback in the first round since 2002 when they took Leo Shepard in the first round, and they picked a great year to break that streak because they took Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo, who's my favorite cornerback in this draft, and it's a shame that he went to the Eagles. 22nd overall pick in the draft. Yeah, the Eagles had a lot of issues last year on defense, specifically their linebackers and cornerbacks. James Bradbury wasn't good. Darius Slay's getting older. They need somebody to come in who can be an immediate impact player. They get one with Quinion Mitchell, and I think he's going to be just that. His biggest question coming into this process was, okay, how good is he in man coverage? And then in Mobile, he was the best cornerback down there and showed, oh, okay, I can play press man coverage. So great pick by the Eagles. They didn't have to do anything, move up, trade up to get him, as it was rumored that they might try to ahead of the draft. So they stay put and get a really good cornerback that I think is going to be a really good fit for them. Looking elsewhere in the draft, we can talk about the Vikings. And I guess it depends on how you feel about JJ McCarthy. I don't think he's going to be anything special, but they didn't have to do anything to get him. They stayed put and got him at, oh, that's a lie. They moved up one spot from 11 to 10 just to ensure that they could get JJ McCarthy. So they made a trade with the Jets to move up one spot to get him. And then they trade from 23 to 17 to get Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Alabama. So I appreciate the proof of concept here, and I see what the vision is. You know, in a Kevin O'Connell offense, JJ McCarthy's going to have all the opportunities and everything around him to succeed. So it's going to be easy to see if he is indeed, you know, their answer for a franchise quarterback or not, because you have a really good play caller and head coach in Kevin O'Connell. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Jordan Addison. You have T.J. Hawkinson. You have Aaron Jones. And you got a defense that, with Brian Flores, is a really good defensive coordinator, got better last year from the year before. He's going to be in a good situation to succeed. I think it's still going to be Sam Darnold week one. They're paying him $10 million. I would expect him to be the starter week one. But I think by mid-season, you know, between weeks 8 and 11, we'll see J.J. McCarthy as the starter. Probably sooner than that, if we're being honest with one another. But again, I don't think he's going to be anything special. I could, of course, be wrong. But if I had to guess right now, I don't think we're going to see, you know, multiple-time All-Pro J.J. McCarthy. I don't think that that's going to happen. But I can appreciate the proof of concept with the Vikings. I'll stay in the NFC North and talk about the Bears because I really liked their draft in the first round. You know, they get Caleb Williams, which was pretty much determined in January. But they also get Rome Odunze, and they don't have to move anywhere to get him. So Rome Odunze goes to the Chicago Bears with the 9th overall pick in this draft. And now, if you're the Bears, I mean, look at what you got. You got a defense that has guys at every level. I really like Montez Sweat on the defensive line. I appreciate Tremaine Edmonds in the middle of the defense at linebacker. And then they got some playmakers on the back end. Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker. They drafted Tyreek Stevenson out of the U a few years ago. So they have guys at every level that are either very good or good and are showing the potential to be very good. So I like what they're doing defensively. And then offensively, you know, you have Caleb Williams, but not only that, you have a lot of weapons for him. You got DJ Moore. You have Rome Odunze on the outside. You have Keenan Allen as like that power slot receiver. You have Cole Kmet. This is a team that on paper looks like they could be a sneaky wildcard contender. And it's very possible, especially if Caleb Williams lives up to the hype. And again, he's a rookie. We're gonna see, you know, how high this ceiling is gonna be, or you know how high the floor could be for Caleb Williams. But in a Shane Waldron offense, I think that this is a team that will be very fun to watch, and they are giving Caleb Williams all the tools to succeed. And I know that a lot of people clown the Bears for how they handled the Justin Fields situation, but the way that they've retooled this offseason, they have 3 really quality receivers for Caleb Williams to throw the ball to, and that's going to be a pain in the butt for defenses to deal with. I really like the hire of Shane Waldron at offensive coordinator, and I think their defense is going to be a really good unit this year, potentially a top 10 unit overall. So I like what the Bears are doing. Really good first round for them to get Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze at receiver. Love it, love it. Looking elsewhere, I like the Raiders getting Brock Bowers. I know some people were like, okay, that's interesting, but in the AFC West especially, but in the league as a whole, this is a game about scoring points, and you need guys who can score points. You need difference makers on offense. And right now, you know, if you're the Raiders, you have Devontae Adams, you got Jacoby Myers. And now you have a tight end duo of Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, who is a threat in the passing game, but can be a people mover in the run game as well for Alexander Mattison and Zamir White. So I like the pick of Brock Bowers. I'm intrigued to see what the Raiders do at quarterback. Are they going to be a team that takes a Spencer Rattler? Are they going to be a team that takes a Michael Pratt? I think that they're a team to circle to see what they decide to do, in the mid rounds if they take a quarterback. Because I don't think that Aiden O'Connell's the guy. I don't think that they think Aiden O'Connell's the guy. So, but even if they roll through another season with Aiden O'Connell, he showed that he can be, a serviceable starter. He's not a franchise starter, but he can, do it for, in the short term. But again, that's a team that I would circle as, okay, maybe they would be in the market for, a Spencer Rattler. The 49ers draft Ricky Pearsall, receiver out of Florida. That tells me they are moving Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk. One of them is gone. Right now, it feels like Deebo Samuel and Mike Silver had reported that it's more than likely going to be Deebo Samuel, and Ricky Pearsall is a slot receiver, so that would be an easy transition. I shouldn't say easy transition because Deebo Samuel is a very good football player. And what he brings to the table in terms of versatility in the run game and the receiving game, that's not something that's just easily replaced by a rookie. But in terms of where he would line up in the offense and where he fits, it looks like Deebo Samuel is going to be the guy that gets shipped out. And that's not to say that Brandon Ayuk couldn't be, but if I had to guess right now, they're going to try to keep Brandon Ayuk and send Deebo Samuel. Now, where that would be, I don't know. That could be something that we could brainstorm real quick. Where could Deebo Samuel go? We just kind of look down the line here. Carolina, maybe, but they already have Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette, who they drafted 32nd. I don't think that that's going to be a move. Baltimore, maybe. I'd have to see how the money would line up with that. But in terms of like a team where that would make sense for Deebo, Baltimore would make sense. Dallas, I don't think they're going to trade him to Dallas. I don't think they trade him to Kansas City. Ted Brady says Steelers. Maybe. The thing with Deebo to the Steelers is that wouldn't take care of the need of an outside X receiver because he's not good at separating the line of scrimmage. He's not good at gaining natural separation. He's a very good player, like I said, but he's a slot receiver, a slot gadget guy that you can put in the backfield, put in the slot. And again, he's the best in the NFL at that role, but they need a boundary receiver, and Deebo's not a boundary receiver. But I can see the thought process. And now, I wouldn't be angry if the Steelers got Deebo Samuel because he is very good, and I would be intrigued to see how they incorporate him into Arthur Smith's offense. But of the two, I would much rather have Brandon Ayuk. But that's something to pay attention to. Who maybe that's a team that if you're the Chargers, you say, okay, we can go get Deebo Samuel. Now, the problem with the Chargers is what's their money look like right now? Because they were in cap hell entering this offseason. But that's a team that would make perfect sense in a Greg Roman, admittedly, a bad Greg Roman offense because I think the Greg Roman offense sucks. But a guy like Deebo Samuel would fit really well into that offense. The Giants drafted Malik Nabers, but like the more the merrier when it comes to weapons. And if you can get a Deebo Samuel to try and help out that offense, that would be cool. I don't think the Titans, they already have enough money tied up in receivers. I don't think the Falcons, I don't know if they have the money to do it. Philadelphia would just be funny, but they just paid Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. They're not getting Deebo Samuel, and they're not going to trade him to Philadelphia. They're not going to trade him to Los Angeles in the division. Yeah, I think there's going to be a smaller market for Deebo Samuel than people might think, which helps out the teams that are going to be in that market. I mean, hell, the Bills could do it. Again, I have to look at what Debo's contract looks like this year. What the hell? It's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm not doing anything better, so I can pull up Debo Samuel's contract real quick. So, if the Bills would want to make a move like that, but even then, man, they already have Curtis Samuel, who's a slot guy. They already have Khalil Shakir, who's a slot guy. Like, how many of the same type of player are you going to try to add? Is my question. So his cap hit this year, Jesus Lord, it's a little bit more than $28.5 million. Yeah, scratch the Bills off that list. He ain't coming there. Now, I don't know how much of that salary that the 49ers would retain, but that's his cap hit. So if you're a team that has money, let's look at the teams with the most cap space right now and just kind of go down the list and see what teams make the most sense. Let's go to over the cap and see who has the most cap space and play a game of where's Debo Samuel going to go after the 49ers drafted Ricky Pearsall. By the way, a little bit of a reach for Ricky Pearsall, who's expected to go between like picks 50 and 70. They just go up and get him at 31. So cap space, here we go. The Patriots, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I might make this a narrative and run with it. Yeah, Patriots, they just drafted Drake May. Get him some weapons. Who do they have right now? KJ Osborne, the ghost of Juju Smith-Schuster. Is Kendrick Bourne still there? Yeah. Get Drake May, a Debo Samuel, and watch me watch the Patriots every Sunday. That would be fun. The Commanders, they just drafted Jaden Daniels. I mean, I can copy and paste what I said about the Patriots to the Commanders. They have the money to do it. They have a rookie quarterback. Help them out. If the Commanders would do it, I mean, that would give them Terry McLaurin, Debo Samuel, Jahan Dotson. That would be a fun squad. And again, they need Jaden Daniels to get bigger because he doesn't weigh a ton. And if he gets hit, he's going to get hurt. Robert adds in the Debo Samuel conversation. That takes the Steelers out of the equation for Debo. Thank God. Yeah, probably. I just don't see the fit there. And keep going down the list here. The Jaguars. The thing with the Jaguars is that Christian Kirk is their slot guy. And again, if they get somebody, they just drafted Brian Thomas. So right now they have a ton of receivers on the roster because they have Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Parker Washington still there. And again, no, if you are the Jaguars and you add Debo Samuel, it makes you better. So I wouldn't take them out of the equation. How in God's name do the Titans still have $30 million in cap space? Maybe put the Titans on the list. Why not? Just keep surrounding Will Levis with as much stuff as you can and give him every chance to succeed. And there you go. The Chargers have the fifth most cap space in the NFL right now after they let go of both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So that's a team that can make a move like that. I think that the Patriots, Commanders, Chargers all make sense. The Cardinals would, but they're not going to trade Debo within the division. They're not going to trade him to the Eagles. The Colts. I would like to see him play for the Colts. That would be very fun. That would be very fun indeed. So the Colts have about $28 million in cap space. And again, I don't know how much of that contract the 49ers would take on. That new team would probably have to do some restructuring of said contract to get it under the cap. But the Colts are very intriguing to me. And I would like that a lot. Oh, my goodness. Michael Pittman and Debo Samuel with Anthony Richardson and a Shane Steichen offense. To quote Daddy Magic of All Elite Wrestling, that would make Daddy Magic's nipples hard. That's tremendous. Speaking of All Elite Wrestling, shout out to Tony Khan for wearing the neck brace and selling the Meltzer driver that the Young Bucks hit him with. That was tremendous. I love professional wrestling so much. Here's another team that we could watch out for Debo watch. Maybe Green Bay? Would they trade with Green Bay? I don't know. But the Colts That intrigues me. The Patriots really intrigues me. The Commanders really intrigues me. And I think the Chargers and Jaguars would be a fun, wild card teams to watch. But the fact that the 49ers selected Ricky Pearsall, that tells me, okay, they're moving off of either Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, and Mike Silver, who covers the 49ers, says that it's more than likely going to be Deebo Samuel. But outside of that, I mean, nothing too crazy. The Ravens taking Nate Wiggins, I thought that they would take a receiver. I thought that would be a good landing spot for, an A.D. Mitchell or a Ladd McConkey. And if there's anybody watching right now live, that's almost, it's 1:40 in the morning. One, I appreciate you. And if you have any questions, comments that you want me to touch on, absolutely drop those in the comments. But in terms of anything else, I think that the big stuff has been covered. And it was, in terms of night one, I thought that we'd get, a little bit more trade stuff, especially in the top 15 picks. So that was a little bit surprising. The first defensive player didn't come off the board until pick number 15, which is Latu Latu to the Indianapolis Colts off the edge. And then it was two more defensive players in a row with Byron Murphy and Dallas Turner. But if anything, I think that early run showed that teams realize that this league is about scoring points, and you need the guys to do it. Robert adds, Wiggins will get toasted by AFC North receivers. I'm not going to pretend to be a Nate Wiggins expert. He was highly touted coming out of Clemson. And if there's a team that gets the most out of defensive backs, it's Baltimore. Granted, Mike McDonald, that's going to be a huge loss for them. But seeing what they've got out of Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, that's a team that if anybody's going to thrive, it's going to be, their defensive backs, because they usually do. But I'm very curious to see what that defense looks like without Mike McDonald at the helm. But yeah, the closing stretch of the 49ers trading Ricky Pierce or drafting Ricky Pearsall, that signifies, okay, one of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel will be gone. It's leaning toward Deebo Samuel. I don't know what the Buffalo Bills are thinking. Actively helping the Kansas City Chiefs get a guy that they want makes no sense to me. What are we going to do, though? But we can all laugh at the fact that the Falcons took Michael Penix, because that is objectively funny. And definitely the biggest head-scratching pick of the night. But everywhere else, I mean, J.C. Latham to the Titans, that makes sense. Protect Will Levis. Olu Fashanu to the Jets, protect Aaron Rodgers, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt again. I like Brock Bowers to the Raiders. Fuaga to the Saints. Again, just more offensive line protection up front for New Orleans. I like the Latu pick for the Colts. Byron Murphy in the middle of the Seahawks defense. That's a that's a Mike McDonald type defender there. So I think that's a good pick. Amarius Mims to the Bengals. Yeah, I mean, they've tried for the past, 3 years to try to get a solidified tackle to protect Joe Burrow, and they always get hurt or just aren't good. So for their sake, hopefully this one's good. Chop Robinson out of Penn State, the quick edge rusher to the Dolphins. I think that's a fun pick. Talked about it a little bit earlier, but the Jaguars get Brian Thomas. They traded back and still got Brian Thomas. I mean, that's a nice little win for the Jaguars. The Lions trade up for cornerback Terrion Arnold. I like that a lot. They got stronger in the front seven by adding DJ Reader. And now they get stronger in the secondary by adding Terrion Arnold in the draft. I like that a lot. Packers take a tackle, Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. And the Buccaneers take Graham Barton out of Duke to be their new center. They need a lot of help on the interior offensive line, so that's a good pick. The Cardinals take Darius Robinson, the edge out of Missouri. That felt like a little bit of a reach. But they get Marvin Harrison Jr., the best receiver in this class, and then some help on the edge. The Cowboys take Tyler Guyton because they lost a lot of offensive linemen. I think they lost 2 offensive linemen to the Commanders. I think it was Tyron Smith and Tyler Biadasz followed Dan Quinn over to Washington. Now the Rams, by the way, they get Jared Verse at 19 to help out their defensive line. First year AD. First year post Aaron Donald. So they get some help off the edge with Jared Verse. But overall, my biggest winners here are the Philadelphia Eagles getting Quinion Mitchell. I think that's a terrific pick. He's my favorite cornerback in the draft. I really liked what the Bears did, obviously getting Caleb Williams, but staying put at number 9 and getting Rome Odunze to make a really nice trio of receivers. I thought that was a very good collection of picks. And I really liked the Brock Bowers selection for the Raiders because you need as many weapons as you can get in today's NFL, especially in that division. And I'm excited to see what they do with him. And in terms of the biggest losers, man, Michael Penix and the Falcons, sorry, that's the worst pick of the night. Don't worry, Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. This list sees you. But I can at least understand the thought process with the Bo Nix thing. I don't think he's going to be good, but I can understand why Sean Payton would think that he could do something with him. And they had Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham as their other 2 quarterbacks. That's at least defendable. The Michael Penix pick is not defendable. And then the Buffalo Bills. What are you doing helping the Chiefs get better? I just don't get that at all. It makes no sense to me. And the Los Angeles Chargers, who had Malik Neighbors fall on their laps, and they said, no, thank you. We'll take a tackle. Sorry, Justin Herbert. You've got no one to throw to. Enjoy this year. And now tomorrow we got rounds 2 and 3. And, of course, I will be back here tomorrow on the channel to recap, on the podcast to react, as well as across the internet. You can find the written reactions on USA Today for Touchdown Wire, as well as continued Steelers coverage at Behind the Steel Curtain. I have my thoughts on the selection of Troy Fautanu over at BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. Our staff has done a really nice job tonight covering the first round, so go check out the Steelers coverage there, and as well as Touchdown Wire for USA Today. Our staff's done a tremendous job covering the first round of the NFL draft as well, so shout out to the team there. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching this on YouTube or Twitter or listening to it wherever you get your podcasts. Appreciate you so much. I'm Jared Bailey. And we'll be back later to recap day 2 as well. So appreciate you guys. Have a great night. I'm going to go get some sleep to get geared up for tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.